Well, thanks for talking with me about this.
Absolutely, glad to chat.
So
Well, there are a number of pieces that are critical. One is the workforce development piece. Yesterday I visited a construction site in Houston, and there's an incredible need for skilled workers, whether it is electricians or plumbers or masonry workers. I also visited Texas State Technical College, and the need for welders, for linemen, for diesel repair operators. That need is enormous, and this legislation is designed to respect federalism. So every state can decide whether to opt in or not. It's up to each state, and every state can design a program that meets the needs of the states. You know, you would expect Texas has different needs in our workforce than, say, Kansas does. And you would imagine Kansas would design a different system than the state of Texas would. But this legislation would provide $5 billion a year or $50 billion over 10 years for K through 12 scholarships. That's all new money. So one of the roadblocks school choice programs have run into here in the Texas legislature is the argument that people don't want to take money out of the public school system. This legislation doesn't take a penny out of the public school system. It's adding a total of $100 billion of new money to education, $50 billion to K through 12, $50 billion to workforce development for adults. And I think that new money at the state level and the ability to expand choices and competition, what we're seeing is a really broad coalition starting to come together. I don't think it would pass Congress with just K through 12, and that's the reason I added the workforce component, because what we've seen in Congress on school choice issues is a pretty sharp partisan divide. Yeah. We've got a lot of consensus among Republicans. Right now, congressional Democrats have opposed school choice proposals. Part of what I'm trying to do with this legislation is break through that, is build a broader coalition, and in particular, because of the workforce component, there are a lot of folks, traditional blue-collar unions, that have long time been Democratic allies who are starting to get really excited about this. And my hope is that will enable us to see a bottom-up coalition that brings together both Republicans and Democrats behind the potential benefit of this legislation.
Is there income requirements?
So the federal legislation doesn't impose them, it leaves it to the states. Okay. But if you look, a lot of different states have created tax credit programs much like this. And most of them have imposed income requirements. You typically have something like, say, they're eligible for families that are, say, 200% of poverty. That's one line that a number of them use. Okay. That would be up to the state of Texas. I think there would certainly be a significant likelihood that Texas would decide to means test it. But the federal legislation doesn't mandate it because each state might answer that question a little bit differently. Another area, for example, some of the states that have created tax credit programs have focused on kids with disabilities. Obviously, kids with disabilities have unique challenges, require additional resources, so providing those additional resources can really help meet their needs. Every state would have the flexibility to design a program to meet the needs of the state. Well, this legislation allows states, if they so desire, to let kids choose to send that money, their scholarship, directly to the public school they're in. I mean, so the one potential could be more money for the public schools. That's up to each state how they structure it. This legislation gives states that flexibility. But beyond that, 25 years ago when we were first starting to debate these ideas, there was a lot of arguments that school choice would hurt the public schools. We've now seen all across the country when scholarship programs, when choice programs have been implemented, the data are compelling that what happens is, number one, the kids that use the scholarships, their educational outcomes are better. But number two, and this is critically important, the public schools improve, that competition benefits the public schools. My objective here is to help make the public schools better. We know the overwhelming majority of the kids are educated, will continue to be educated in public schools, and the entire point of competition and empowering parents is to bring that competition into the system to improve the outcomes, to improve performance in the public schools. Look, unquestionably we do, and we do for a couple of reasons. One, education has long been a traditional focus of government and an important focus of government. It is a responsibility. We know that educating our kids determines the future of Texas. If we do it, we've got a bright future, and if our kids don't get an education, our future is badly troubled. Number two, this is designed to be federal tax credits. That has been a long vehicle of incentivizing conduct that is beneficial, whether you're looking at tax deductions for contributions to 501c3s, that's long been part of federal tax laws, or whether you're looking at programs like the GI Bill or Pell Grants. There's long been an involvement in a way that encourages and improves education. Now, it was critically important to me in this bill to respect federalism. Nobody wants to see a national school board dictating what's taught in the schools. And so this bill prohibits the feds from having any involvement whatsoever in curriculum, staying completely out of it. It is simply a tax credit for contributions to scholarship granting organizations. And that leaves curriculum decisions, that leaves design of the program at the state and local level where it's directly accountable to Texans. I don't know that there's anyone easy to beat. Let me take it one piece at a time. Let's start in the primary. I think they're going to nominate someone from the extreme left. And the reason is I think all of the energy, all the passion, all the anger in the Democratic Party is on the extreme left. In my view, the most likely nominees are one of four people: Kamala Harris, Beto O'Rourke, Bernie Sanders, or Elizabeth Warren. And that's just where I see the passion. Now,
your old opponent.
Indeed, it is interesting watching. But look, there are some Republicans who are thrilled and go, okay, great, if they nominate someone from the far left, that means we win. Look, I don't think that's necessarily true. We are an evenly divided country. 180,000 votes switch in 2016, and Hillary Clinton is the president. We are so closely divided that sadly, I think there is a possibility that America would elect an avowed socialist. I hope that's not the case. I'm working hard and going to work hard to make sure it isn't. But given how evenly divided this country is, I think that's a real possibility. It underscores we're having a fundamental debate in the United States right now about what kind of country are we? Are we going to be a socialist country, which a number of these candidates are openly calling for? Or are we going to continue to embrace American free enterprise, which the American free enterprise system has been the greatest enemy poverty has ever seen. If you care about social justice, socialism doesn't work. Free enterprise has lifted millions of people, billions of people worldwide out of poverty. And so this fundamental debate is a debate I'm engaged in and going to continue engaged in, but it's a debate that matters to Texans, matters to people across the country.